Call the November 9th meeting of the White County Board of Education to order. Appreciate everyone being here. Would please stand, and Mr. Max Simmons will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On behalf of the board, I'd like to thank everyone that's here tonight, joining us this evening. Ms. Pell, Bodycraft staff, thank you for your hospitality tonight, allowing us to visit your facility and conduct our business at this site. For our staff members and members of the public, they're here tonight. This meeting, along with our committee meetings, are live streamed on the YouTube channel for the White County School Board. In addition, our meetings are archived for you to view at a later date if you so choose. Last meeting, we started a process where we are leveraging the use of a consent agenda, which are items that are normally administrative in nature, and so we discussed those items. All board members have had the opportunity to review those as they are made available to us, and we do a final review of that during our committee meeting at 5 o'clock, and then those items are included in a consent agenda, which will be approved if with motion proper order would be approved in one motion. So that's new. This way that we're trying to be more efficient in our meetings, and giving us the time, allows us the time to focus on the things that we need to focus on that might require more time. So just want to bring that to your attention. Tonight, also would like to recognize our new school board members. These are student representatives that are joining our board for the first time tonight. I'd like to welcome Mr. Max Simmons and Ms. Joy McGill. Mr. Simmons is a 12th grader at the White County High School, and Ms. McGill is in the 11th grade. So if you would, please join me in welcoming them to our board. Yes, you can, Mr. McDonald.
Can you guys give us or kind of tell us what your interests are at the high school, and what part of our county do you live in? Ladies first. Ladies first.
Well, it's like, what am I active
What are you active in at the high school?
I go to the Bible club every Wednesday morning, and
Okay.
I'm very active in the band. I'm part of the drum line, and I'm a part of HOSA and plan on attending competitions, if not this year, then next year as well.
And what area of the county you live in?
I'm
What?
right next to Wood.
Right next to Little Farm. Okay. All right. So, Max?
I'm 12th
Mr.
grade
Sims?
class president, and I'm really involved in Warrior Media, and I'm involved in Move to Stand as well, something that Mr. Umbarger and a group of kids started last year. That's an anti-bullying movement. We go elementary school to elementary school, so been involved in that. Tennis. I play tennis. Thanks, Miss Allen. She reminded me. Sorry. Wish I had my resume. And then I live in the Central View area.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I must say there is a nice article in the Expositor about
Yeah,
Mr.
just read
Simmons.
that.
You can read that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Glad to have you.
Yes, glad to have you.
So, would like to make everyone aware that the policies from standpoint, this is a public meeting. School board is bound by the Sunshine Law, so all items that were presented tonight have not been discussed or decided on prior. This would be first time for us as a board to come together and take action on items that action needs to be taken. The public comment is something that's allowed at every meeting per state law that went into effect last year. We do have a public comment section in our agenda. It's item number 9. If you have any questions about how that's carried out, I would refer you to policy 1404 that can be found online at whitecountyschools.net/school board. So with that, those comments, move on to the next item on our agenda, and that would be a disclosure of conflicts of interest. If anyone on the board would have a conflict of items on the agenda for tonight, assuming those items that this agenda is approved, please let that be known now.
Mr. Chairman, as I do each and every month and each and every meeting that I'm here, will state that my wife is an employee of the school system, but the comments and the votes that you will hear from me tonight are strictly my own and are in the best interest of White County School District.
Mr. Chairman, as I do every month also, I follow Mr. McDonald's, what he said right there, and I said ditto for me. Thank you, Mr. McDonald.
Okay. So it seems like the minutes reflect that Mr. McDonald and Mr. Howard both indicated they have spouses that work in the district, but there's nothing on the agenda that would be consist of a conflict for them. Next item on our agenda is approval for the agenda for this meeting. We've posted the agenda for this meeting out last Friday, if I'm not mistaken, and so you've had a chance to look at that. So at this time, I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
A motion from Mr. McDonald. Do I have a second?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Are we going to be able to discuss item 12B?
Well, if we get a second and we get into discussion, then we certainly will do that.
Second.
Have a second. Now, any discussion?
Are we going to be able to pull item 12B out and discuss it when we get down to it?
Why would we need to pull it out? It's not in the consent agenda. It's just under chairman's comments and as an announcement.
We're approving the agenda, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Where should it go if it's not under chairman's comments?
Well, if it's approved on it right now, then we get down to item 12B. Where would you put it if you wanted to have board members discuss it?
Well, the intent is for board members not to discuss it tonight. The intent tonight is to make everyone aware that that would be the first item on our item of business at our December meeting.
Okay. Well, I just have questions that I would like to ask.
Okay,
Get to
well,
it.
you can get to that. I'll give you the opportunity to ask questions.
Thank you. That's all I was interested in. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item is our consent agenda. Consent agenda for this month includes approval of minutes that was held from our meetings held on October 19th. That was committee and full board. We also will be approving the budget amendments and transfers that were discussed in our committee meeting this evening. We have six policies in our that need to be updated based on TSB recommendations. So those will be coming through as first reading items. It was discussed in the committee that there may be some things that we want some clarifications of exactly how we address certain situations that need a little bit more research. But all in all, those policies are coming out for first reading. We did have maintenance report, school report, budget report, TLN report. I don't think there was anything to report on there. We had received a monthly threat assessment report as we are to receive each month, personnel reports, and then we have approval of insurance carriers and approval of student insurance.
Mr. Chairman, we need to push those to next month if we can, please. There were some issues. HR is working on some things, and they asked that we push items J and K to next month, please.
Okay. So for clarity, we'll be pulling out items J and K of our consent agenda because that information was not provided to us tonight. So those are the items we'll be approving in our consent agenda. So this time I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Hastings. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Fowler. Any discussion?
I do have one question, and of course, on the road up here, the audio wasn't great, and I could hear not everybody, but I wanted to ask about the SRO at the high school. This money that we're moving, is that just our part of that, or do we pay the full salary for that SRO?
The school system's paying the full salary for that.
Okay.
For that particular SRO.
Benefits and all?
Yes, for the remainder of the year. That was we took that out of an extra position. We had some extra teaching positions that we had padded in the budget, so we moved one of those in there to pay for that. We had made a tentative agreement with the Sheriff's Department, or I had, that if we could find an additional SRO for the high school, that we would fund that. Overall, the ultimate goal is to have a female and a male SRO officer at that school, but right now we have the opportunity to get a second male, and so that's what we're actually.
So who is currently the SRO at the high school? Is that Mr.
Wade
Pike?
Pike.
Sergeant Pike? Okay. And then this one that will start, I mean,
And next week, I believe.
it says November 1, so.
Yeah, I believe he was finishing some things. I think, I want to say the 17th, I think, or
Okay.
13th maybe,
Okay.
was the date.
And who is the?
Ralph Lasky, I can't remember the name. I'll find that for you, but he's moved here, transferred, I believe, from Florida, has a lot of SRO experience, and retired out of Florida Police Department.
So he's not coming in green, he's coming in.
A lot of SRO
A lot of
experience.
SRO. Okay, great.
Great.
Yep.
Richard Starweski.
That's what I said.
Well, she said,
That's how you, I had to set his email up today, so that's why I knew I had.
Richard
Starweski.
Starweski. Okay. Okay.
Mr. Dean, if you would just share with some people who might not know the corporation that we have with, or you have with the Sheriff's Department, of how SROs are managed and paid with the procedures.
Well, now there's grant funding through the state. They provided, up till this past year, the school system paid for all the expenses. They paid for the salaries and, well, not all the expenses, paid for the salaries and the training, and the Sheriff's Department paid for their equipment and some of their training over the summer. But now with the new grant funding from the state, that all comes from the state. It actually comes through Homeland Security to the Sheriff's Department. They get money, so all of their salaries and all of their equipment, everything now is paid for by the Sheriff's Department with that grant funding. But this one particular officer, in order to add an extra additional officer, with the school system will pick up the 10 months, and then the Sheriff's Department will pick up their other 2.
Thank you.
And with,
That's a great ad.
I think it's well needed up there. It's so
Very
spread
much
out
so.
campus.
and for the record, we should do want to express appreciation for all the SROs serving our district. And tonight I would like to recognize Mr. Lewis Carrick, fellow alum, class of '88, and the great job that he does for our community. Appreciate it. All right, any other discussion on our consent agenda? Okay, we have a motion and a second. No more discussion, then all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is district update, and we'll turn that over to Mr. Drummer.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Right now in the district, our focus is on standards and students. I've made a personal plea to all of our educators to pursue excellence in a purposeful manner like never before as we work together to overcome a really difficult season in our school community. A personnel report is in your folders. You can see all the employment transactions this past month. Safety, we're excited to officially announce that our district received a grant award of nearly $500,000 for safety improvements. The COPS grant, as it's called, will focus on numerous safety projects across the district, most notably a universal interior lock system for all schools. We also received a significant technology grant of over $368,000. This award will help provide, amongst other things, interactive panels in each classroom across our district. Academically, we're still awaiting the A through F letter grade determinations from the Department of Education. We expect this to come in the month of December. The high school is gearing up for end of course tests at the end of the month. Middle school and elementary schools are issuing benchmark tests before Christmas. School calendar, a draft calendar was created this week with the help of teachers. This calendar is created with the assistance of the Teacher Advisory Board with input from some of the BOE staff. Teachers will provide feedback over the next month, and the calendar will be brought to the school board for approval in December. Athletics, elementary basketball is ending this week, I think tonight, actually. And middle school basketball is underway. High school basketball starts next week. Bowling will wind up their regular season this month. And high school wrestling, we have a co-op with Crossville now for high school wrestling. Building projects, so excited about the Bonnycroft project. Good weather has allowed for much progress here at this site. Masons are nearing completion of the cinder block walls, and they'll shift to brickwork very soon. The WCHS softball facility, the concrete pad's been poured, and the artificial turf surface has been chosen. And I think at this point that completes the director's report. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, any questions for our director?
Yeah, but I forgot what it was. I'll get it later.
Just-
No, I was thinking out loud. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, that's good to know we have board members that are thinking. That's good. That's what we should be doing. Okay. If no other questions for Mr. Trautbarger on our district report, move on to line item number 8. Would like to recognize Miss Becky Golden. And Miss Golden is asked to appear before the board, asked to be added to the agenda. Ms. Golden did do that within the 7-day time period before the meeting. We did not have any information to be passed to you, presented to you in our packet for this meeting, but we will recognize Ms. Golden and give Ms. Golden 5 minutes. I think I saw Ms. Golden.
She's here.
Okay. Come on, Ms. Golden, would you come up and for the board, please? So, Ms. Golden, thank you for being here, and we have like 5 minutes, and Mr. McDonald will be the keeper of the clock. So, the floor is yours.
Well, good evening, and thank you, Chairman Young, Mr. Trautbarger, and district representatives. I did want to just speak to you a moment about a remarkable young lady that touched a lot of lives, had a significant impact in the short time that she was with us here. Her name is Wertz, and Marky was not only a very bright young lady and a talented athlete, she was a multi-athlete. But her true love was cross country. I am here on behalf of not only some private citizens, but our county commission and the Parks and Rec to request that once the new cross-country course has been finished, and on behalf of the county commission, we are willing to work with you all in any capacity that we need to, that be named in her honor and be named the Marky Voles Cross Country Trail. Once she was able to show everyone her skills in cross country picked up in White County very rapidly. Everybody could see her enthusiasm and her love for the sport. So that is what I wanted to speak with you about tonight.
Can I make a comment right there? I know her dad was very instrumental in the cross-country
Yes.
program that we currently have at the high school. And I think we've had state tournament, state participants come from that program, and that's all because of what Marky started, because she was the epicenter of
Yes.
cross country in her time. So
Yes, and her dad Mark continued to coach well after her dad.
Yes.
I think that's a great idea. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Yes.
Can I ask, that was going to be my question. I'm certainly all for that idea, but from the county commission side, obviously that's not our land. So, and they've been so
Yes.
gracious to allow us to practice on it right now. So I need to have some conversation. I'm actually on Parks and Rec board now
Yes.
too. So we need to have some conversation about
Yes.
long-term plans
Yes.
for that property, because we don't want to build something that next
that
month
in the
the
next
county
month
commission
is
decides they
gonna
want to do.
take- yes.
So I think once, to satisfy the board, is once we work through that process to establish this is officially where that course is going to be, we need to do that step first, and
Yes.
then I would be all for
Okay.
naming that. I think that'd be a
Yes.
great honor.
It was we just wanted to put the bug in the ear. That's pretty much what we were wanting to do. And I agree, since Marky, I knew Marky, my kids were wonderful friends with Marky, and she really impacted them. I volunteered that I would be the spokesperson, so to speak.
So if it pleases the board, I'll be working, obviously, through the Parks and Rec, but we'll come up with a plan to present to the county commission as to where that official course would be. And once we have that solidified, then we can bring that back before the board as far as naming goes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gill.
Appreciate it.
All right. All right, moving on. Next item on our agenda is our public comment section. Policy 1404 provides the guidelines for public comment period, and we're here at this point on our agenda to have those. Public comment per policy is limited to actual items that are on the agenda. And so it is the expectation that those wishing to speak to the board, that their intent would be for those to be actionable items on our agenda. However, sometimes there may be a situation where the public may want to bring to our attention something that's on their minds. I would encourage public to first reach out to your district representative and about any matter of concern or ideas for improvement for the district, and start with your representative, but we also do allow time for public comment. So I will call the names of those tonight that are wishing to speak. We have two individuals on our sign-up list tonight, so we will call them to the floor. None of the items to be discussed appears to be an item on our agenda, so Chairman will make discretion to allow them to speak anyway. The board member, through proper motion and order, so proves to override my decision, then you let it be known at that time. Otherwise, I'm going to ask Josh Hancock to come. Josh is at 5245 Dual Highway, and his agenda item to be discussed is safety. So, Mr. Hancock, welcome to our meeting, and I recognize you. Mr. McDonald will allow you 5 minutes.
I want to say thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. It means a lot. I was told I probably won't be able to speak tonight, so it's very...
Speak up if you can.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Sorry. So I want to thank you for letting me speak tonight. I was told I probably won't be able to speak tonight, so I want to say thank you once again for allowing me this time. What I want to talk about tonight is safety with our children. I don't know if some of you know this or not. My children, I have 6 children that go to all the schools in White County. There was an incident at one of those schools that had happened involving, I guess it was a teacher or a teacher's aide. When my wife had went to talk to the vice principal there about this issue, to ask if this person had actually worked at the school, she was lied to. She said, no, this person does not work at our school. She was told that twice, okay? Twice. When my wife then showed photos of the person and the name, then the tune changed, not from this person works here, it was, how did you know this? How did you figure this out? Still, the focus wasn't on the children, it was focused on how do we shoo this away? Because once you lie about something, that tells me that you know it's wrong, but you continue to do it anyway. Now I brought a folder here that shows this man and the things that he's done, and I can't show it because there's children here. But it is vile, it is disgusting, and it is unholy. And this man was allowed to walk through the school with children there, and no one questioned it, not one person. It took me 30 seconds to find this person's social media when I was put a name to the person. 30 seconds. Tell me we don't have 30 seconds to vet someone that's going to be around our children all day, every day. When a vice principal doesn't know the own policies and procedures to sit there and tell a parent, you lose all transparency in that school. There shouldn't be less transparency between parents and schools. There should be more. That should be an open door. Everybody here has probably had children that goes to school or put children through school. A parent's number one fear when they send a child to school is safety. Is my child going to be okay? That foundation is on, that trust is only as good as that foundation that it's built on. And today that foundation was crumbled by school administration. I'm speechless. Speechless. Because if a vice principal can't tell a parent yes or no if this person works here, or yes or no this is happening, what are we to do as parents? How do we protect our children? We have the answers, but they're shooed away. I would like to see some sort of reform or change when it comes to third parties or even itself employment agencies that hire these people to be vetted for our children. And I would like to see more administration held accountable when they want to lie or manipulate parents. That's all I got to say. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Hancock.
I'll leave that right there for you guys to look at.
All right. Next on our sign-up sheet is Lisa Cooper. Ms. Cooper is 550 Randolph Road in Sparta, and item to be discussed is visitor policy. Ms. Cooper, thank you for joining us tonight. We will allow you 5 minutes.
Okay, you're going to say when it's at 2?
You're
Okay. So my name's Lisa Cooper. I live down the road here. I have a first grader here, and I have a 7th grader at the middle school. And I have 2 that graduated last year from our high school. We've always been a part of Bonnycroft. My husband's family came to Bonnycroft. It's just a community feeling here. I'm sure it is in other schools in this county. We got a note home probably a week before Halloween that said the new visitor policy, and let me stop and say this is not about showing your driver's license. I will show my driver's license all day long. That's a good thing. For safety to continue to be a focus, they're updating some information as we get closer to Halloween. We want parents to be involved and participate. Some schools have chosen to no longer allow visitors for parties, but we want to continue to allow visitors, so we're going to put some new guidelines in place. Basically, only 1 adult will be permitted per child. If you have siblings, don't bring them. The kids can't have their siblings there. This is going to be lunch and parties, special events, I'm assuming. It doesn't say, but I only assume it means awards days and graduation and other things like that. Also, to prevent students from being photographed, which I get, there are students who don't want to be photographed. Parents have signed the thing saying, don't photograph my child. I totally get that. I don't want someone coming to school and taking pictures of my kids and then putting them on their Facebook. 100% understandable. However, we didn't go from point A to A and a half. We went from A to Z like that. So now we can't bring our cell phones in. I had a Halloween party with my daughter and a birthday party week apart. I couldn't take a picture of us at that. Is that a big deal to some? Probably not. It is to me. You know, we could have a selfie safe zone right here. Kids would love that. They would say, oh, you can't be over there because Lisa's taking a picture with Adrian, and that'd be bad. You know, they'll get you in trouble. Kids would adhere to that. If you have parents that can't follow that problem, then ask them to leave. But I haven't done anything wrong. So now you can't even bring your phone in. They don't want you to bring a purse in. I mean, if it's not safe and we can only have 1 person per child, is it safe for my purse in my car? You know, I'm struggling with this. this because there's grandparents that want to be with their grandchildren, there's moms and dads, there's sisters that want to come back and see their favorite teachers at these parties. So what is the safety benefit? Do we not say that we want families to come in and be interactive with these children? It's all over our websites. I read the websites today. There's no update on whitecoastschools.net. So that makes me wonder. It's not a part of the policy. I dipped into some handbooks of other schools around the county. We welcome visitors. Well, it's not very welcoming. I have rights to my child. My husband has rights to my child. Those rights do not pause, they do not stop. It's not 50% me and 50% him. If me and him both want to come here and see Adrian at her party or have lunch with her, why is that not acceptable? Are we dangerous? Why are you letting either of us in if we're dangerous? It's not about quantity, okay? What does it matter if 12 people are here in a classroom? If there's 6 kids, why does that matter? You got their driver's license at the door. You know who's in the building. If it's safety, a school shooter, I get it. I know what climate we're living in. They're not going to check in at the desk. They're not. Did we not get new windows? What are they for? You know, we're going to take the windows out. How safe are we going to make this? That's what I'm saying. Parents are missing out. Kids are going to miss out. It's going to be detrimental to an already, it's hard to get here as it is. I have to work. So now we have to decide who gets the privilege of being a part of our children's lives. Is that extreme? It is. That's what it feels like. I know some of the other schools are doing something similar. I heard some of them don't let visitors in at all. Shame on them. We have rights to our children. You want me to sell smart cards? You want us to peddle stuff for fundraisers? You want us to sign in as an involvement grant every time we come to something, but you don't want us here during school times. I do believe that somewhere in the law it says we have a right to review our children's education and the other things. I know parties are probably optional, but that's what we do. So, you know, it's concerning to me. I want to know where it came from. I want to know why it's allowed. You know, what's the point of even having a public school where they can all get together if we can't come in?
Thank you, Ms. Cooper. Certainly would encourage Ms. Hancock, Ms. Cooper to reach out to our Director of Administration to look at some of the concerns that you brought up tonight. All right, moving on. Next item on our agenda is new business. We did have 2 items of new business that were brought to us after we published our agenda for tonight. First, we have Cassville Volunteer Fire Department has requested to use school property next to Cassville for a property for a helipad, and so that information was provided to you in your packet. Mr. D, would you like to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, just the Cassville Volunteer Fire Department has an interest in using that land that we're not currently using between Cassville Lane and Smithville Highway. They want to create a helipad there to provide a place for a helicopter to safely land in the case of emergencies. This is land that we don't currently have any plans for, and land that we honestly have trouble keeping up and keeping mowed, and they've offered to keep that area clean for us if they can use it for such. So I would recommend to the board that we allow them to use this property.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Steve. So it has been recommended that we allow them to use this property for their helipad purposes. So this time I would entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make that motion, Madam Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Howard. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Stone. Any other discussion?
I know, just looking at this property here, and I'm sure they're aware, they're going to take care of any power lines or anything that would be a hindrance to them in that pad. And there's no water lines that run to school or anything?
No, there's
sewer,
some
nothing?
septic on the west side of that property that they're aware of, but this would be on the east side.
Okay. All right, that's a great idea.
Okay. Any other discussions, questions? Mr. Simmons, Ms. McGill, any thoughts on that? Helipad next to Central, next to Cassville?
Well, I travel the Smithville Highway every day to get to school, and I do concur, like you said earlier, there are a lot of wrecks, so I think it would help the community out.
Great, great. Mr.
I
McGill?
agree with it.
All
I'll
right.
say the same.
All right. Well, thank you for your input. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item of new business is approval of White County FFA trip to Gatlinburg for the state convention in March of 2024. We feel that we have approved this travel to this convention in prior meetings, but couldn't find evidence of that, so it's been brought to us, brought to us to approve that travel, so we would have just, have that on record. So that being item in new business, this time I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. McDonald. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Howard. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. For the public who might not have been here at our 5 o'clock meeting, just note that our FFA received a 3-star rating at the National FFA conference that was held last month in November, first in school's history. So we want to say congratulations to students in that program.
And how many students did you say was at that convention?
67,000.
Wow. All in blue corduroy jackets?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I attended one in Kansas
Still
City
got my
that had
pen.
80,000.
I went to Lansing.
All right. So that approval, next item on our business is old business, and we have no items for old business. That moves on to chairman's comments. Board members like to remind you that the TSB conference and convention will be next week in Nashville. That's the 16th through the 18th at the Opryland Hotel and Convention Center. If you do not have your information for travel, please see Mr. Drombarger, and he'll get that to you so you'll be prepared for that. Next item is that during our October 19th board meeting, Mr. Drombarger submitted formal requests for a review of and renewal of his contract with White County Board of Education. His current contract ends on June 30th, 2024. Honoring his request, I'm placing the first item of business during our regular board meeting on December 14th at Cassville, where we will be considering to renew his contract. State law requires that the director's contract be available to the public at least 15 days prior to a meeting where the board would take action. Because no structural changes in the contract is being requested, I've instructed Mr. Drombarger to have this document reviewed by board attorney and then posted on our website by end of business on November 15th. And that would be in items of discussion for a folder for the December meeting, which the public will also have access to and will be able to review that contract. This announcement serves as public notice of this matter, and I encourage the public to review the red line version and contact your district representative with any feedback or questions. While the decision on contract renewal is the responsibility of the board, input from the community will be considered along with supporting evidence of prior year performance. So have that announcement. So any questions from the board members?
Mr. Chairman, I have some questions. I would like to state this right now. Every one of these questions came from constituents in my district. I did not make a single one of these questions up, and they have no personal feelings or directions in anyone whatsoever respect. And I just want to say them as nicely and easily. But there's questions in my district. First question is, there's 6 questions here. What is the driving factors for this early renewal? Because we normally have it in April, right?
His contract ends in June. And typically, their renewal or extension would be taking place in April. However, because this is the end of his contract, coming up on the end, and we would not be able to do a renewal, we would have to do an extension, we would have to do a renewal contract. So, in fairness to both parties, doing it prior to the end of the year, depending on what action the board took, one of two things would happen. We would either be able to renew the contract for another period of time. It doesn't have to be for 4 years. The details of the contract, it would be matters that the board would take up. But we would have time to, one of two things, if we, by doing it in December, in fairness to both the board and the director, one of two things will happen. We'll be able to renew the contract and then start on one of the things that's important to us as a board is start working towards district planning, understanding that who our director will be for the next 4 years. Or the second thing would be, in fairness to both parties, Mr. Drumbarger would have an opportunity to start preparing his next career move, and the board would have to go through the process of trying to secure that position, fill that position prior to the end of the year, as we all know, gets extremely busy with budgets and things of that nature that we have to start preparing for growing into our next school year. So timing seems reasonable, and so therefore that's the reason why I plan to bring that up in December.
Second question. So if this is normally done in April, is there a scheduling conflict in April?
No scheduling conflict other than the fact that giving ourselves and the director both time, depending on how the decision goes.
Okay. Again, so if it's normally done in April, is there financial or business related factors that's a problem right now that would be a problem in April?
As Mr. Howard, as I stated before, if we waited to April and not renew and decided not to renew his contract in April, then we have a very short period of time to try to get another director in and then trying to make decisions for the upcoming school year, which involve budget, hiring, and things of that nature. It just, from a business standpoint, does not seem wise to me to wait to put ourselves in that position. The director contract, the director hiring process, I think the only one of us on this board that has been through that has been Mr. McDonald. And Mr. McDonald, that happened during baseball season, and I recall that there were several weeks that you were out engaged and missed on that. So maybe you can speak to the process of how long that took.
It was a lengthy process, and I was rather new on the board at that time, and come in, you have your interviews, you have your open public comment, your interviews. It's a lengthy process, and it's not just happening at night; it's happening during the daytime. So it's definitely a process. I do whatever we got to do,
To move this on, Mr. Chairman, I want you to understand also, these are none of my questions. So if you would just address my constituents, okay, instead of addressing me. Fourth question is, has the director been offered another job that we need to compete with?
Not to my knowledge, but all I know, Mr. Howard, is the same as what you that we were presented with this request last month.
And number 5, how will this change, alter the standards of future contract renewals?
I think I don't think there's anything in policy or contract that puts a timeline or saying it has to be done on a certain date. I think that's left up to the board's discretion and the board's pleasure when they bring that subject up.
Because we have multiple contracts for teachers and distributors and everything. Will this set a standard for them wanting to come early and renew their contracts?
Those are contracts that we have no responsibility for, so I don't know how that would impact anything regarding us and the board.
And once again, last question here, and I'm just doing my job of relaying the information and questions from my constituents. And this last question, don't take it personal, but considering recent events becoming public, should we even warrant a renewal?
I'm not sure how the director or any staff could have prevented that. But that subject and that matter being under investigation, I'm just not going to speak to that.
Thank you. That
Okay.
concludes my questions that my constituents have brought to me.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Howard.
Thank you for allowing me to ask.
I'll give any other board members opportunity to speak on that, ask any questions. But I hope I made my logic clear on the reason why choosing to do this, plus the fact that it was requested by us and as an employer and to our employee, they deserve the right for us to take action when presented on it. And so that was the logic behind my reasoning. So anyway, other than that announcement, I would encourage everyone to be active and be prepared for that meeting, and look forward to a good, productive meeting from all those concerned. Next item on the agenda is adjournment, so I take a moment. I'm sorry? Yes, ma'am.
So you're saying that we're going to have to vote on that next meeting, whether to renew or not to renew, or are we going to go through any kind of forum of anybody asking questions from the...
I'm sorry, thank you. You bring up a good point. A good point. So let me share with you my intent on how I plan to for that meeting to play out. Looking at our agenda, we will have our normal call to order pledge, comments, disclosure of interest, and then we will have the approval of the agenda, so that way we can have all that covered. Then, rather than going into the consent agenda, we will, the first actionable item on the agenda will be the director's contract, and at that point in time, I will have a subpoint there for public comment on that. So I'll allow them the opportunity, if they sign up and wish to speak to us, they'll be granted the same amount of time on that subject. If there is, I will enforce, if there's a delegation from coming to speak, that they will have to appoint one person to speak on behalf of a delegation in being consistent with the policy. But we will give the opportunity for individuals to express their thoughts. But after that, it will be board members. It will be our decision to make based on the evidence and input that we've been given. So if someone makes a motion to do that, then we will at that point in time enter into discussion. So that would be we would have to have a motion and a second to move into to the contract renewal and then have discussion at that point in time. Okay.
Discussion, but not a vote?
No, we would, if somebody makes a motion, then we will vote on that motion. Okay.
Motion adjourned.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Before we do that, can I go say one thing real quick?
Absolutely.
Going back to public comment, I want to thank Mr. Hancock and Ms. Cooper for coming tonight, and Sharon, I'm sorry I didn't say this earlier, we moved on quickly, but I just want to say I did speak to Mr. Hancock for a lengthy time today. Felt like we had a good conversation and about this situation, and felt like we'd come to some resolve there, but it's certainly something that we took very seriously and take his comments seriously, and things that we're going to look into how we can do things better. I haven't had a chance to talk to Ms. Cooper personally, but I look forward to doing that too. And I just appreciate both of them coming and speaking tonight. I want to just say, and I don't say this flippantly or humorously, but one comment was that we were being too safe, and one was we're not being safe enough. And so it's just a really difficult position. We're trying to be in to do those things, but I take them both seriously, and I agree with both senses, and that we need to look at both sides of that. And but I just want to make a comment that we take those matters very seriously, and we'll look forward to having more conversation with them if we can about how we can address those concerns. So I just want to say that. Thank
Can
you.
I ask something real quick, and I'll make it quick? So is it the principal's discretion for the people visiting?
It is on the parties, and as a parent, I kind of think, one's maybe a little restrictive. As I look at it as a parent, as a director of schools, I look at it as When they have parties, it's hard to monitor where everybody is in the building, and when people are going from classroom to classroom. You know, if we're having assemblies and everybody's in the gym and we've got eyes on everybody in one place, that's one thing. But when you have people wandering the hallways, you know, we don't know who your two people are, and who's in the bathroom at that time monitoring. So, you know, there's concerns. I see both sides from an administrative standpoint and from a parent standpoint. But we'll follow up and we'll look at that and we'll talk, try and be consistent across the schools.
So how many schools are doing that?
I don't know the number because
Okay.
it's done differently at each school.
Okay.
You know, one school doesn't allow visitors very much at parties, and others that I know were doing exactly what they were doing here in Montclair.
Thank you. I feel like one is restrictive. I think you should at least let the two parents.
Yeah. We're gonna take a look at that for sure. I appreciate both coming in and speaking tonight.
All right, as do I. All right, have a motion for adjournment. Have a second?
Adjourn, adjourn, adjourn.
Have a motion. I second, Ms. Hasten. Good luck in the ball game tonight, and for all those here tonight, appreciate you being out, and we'll call this meeting adjourned.